my name is Brittany Riley, and you're in the Kitchen with Britt. We're here at the Kitchens and Home Appliance in Avon, Ohio, and I am going to be making a Big Sky steak salad. So right now I'm finishing up crisping up some bacon, and while that's finishing, cooling, I'm gonna come over here and we're gonna get a rub going for our steak. All right, for our steak salad, we are going to be using flank steak, which is great for entertaining because you can get, pound, pound and a half, and it'll serve several people. One thing about it, even though it is a nice tender cut, it's a little bit fibrous. You can kind of see as you look at it that, just like with any steak, but definitely with flank steak, once we go to carve it, we want to be really making sure that we cut on the bias, which just means kind of against that grain. That way the fork feels a little bit better to us. That bite isn't so gritty. So we can kind of eliminate that by slicing it up right. We are going to be using all sorts of goodies from the Gourmet Olive out in Chesterland, Ohio. And they use some Olivelli products as well as some other imported Italian products. For the steak, what we're going to be using is a nice coffee rub and then some black garlic sea salt. So I have that all measured out here. And what we're going to do is kind of really just rub it into our flank steak. And while our pan is still pretty hot, we'll crank it up and kind of grill this steak in our cast iron. A couple things about the bacon. Basically, just cut it into 1/4-inch pieces. And, when you're cutting bacon, one thing to remember is keep it in the fridge until right before, even throw it in the freezer for 10 minutes, 20 minutes before you cut it. That way it's not sliding around. The second that fat hits room temperature, it starts to get kind of relaxed, and you want to make sure that, it's not sliding and causing your knife to maybe slide or anything like that. So the colder it is, the easier it is to just slice right through. So basically, we have our 1/4-inch pieces that we just kind of crisped up. It takes a little bit of time to render all that fat, and then what we want to do is, once it's nice and crispy, put it on a paper towel lined plate and then get rid of that excess grease. So glass bowl, pour your grease into that, maybe just set it aside until it solidifies. Then you can just scoop it and put it in the garbage. You don't want to ever put that down your drain. It will not be fun. So there's a little bit of bacon flavor in that pan already for our steak, but we got rid of all the excess grease and our crispy bacon is off to the side. The recipe will be at the end of this for all of the proportions and all that good stuff. But we'll go ahead and get this rubbed in on both sides. It smells really good. There's some sugar, some coffee, some garlic, lots of different spices, paprika and peppers and things like that in our coffee rub. And then this black garlic salt is really good. I've been putting it on a lot of things lately. Ever since I used it a couple weeks ago, it's been going on my popcorn and on top of lots of different dishes. Black garlic is basically a fermented garlic, so it has some different flavors and it's nice infused into the salt. All right. So I'm gonna kind of rub this in, let it sit for a few minutes before putting it in the pan because I don't wanna lose any of that flavor. I want it to soak into the meat for a few minutes, let my meat totally get to room temperature, and then we're gonna do, for this thickness, probably about 5 to 7 minutes on each side. I'm going for medium rare, so we will come back to do that. All right, so I did about 5 minutes on the first side, about 5 minutes on the second side, and I ended up putting mine into a 450-degree oven to finish for about 6 or 7 more minutes. I had the crust that I wanted going, plus with all of that rub on there, it was starting to smoke quite a bit, so just finishing it in the oven is perfect to get the internal temperature right. So now I have let it rest for close to 10 minutes. You always want to let your meat rest because you've kind of shocked it with the heat, and basically all of the juices run to the thickest part. And so what we want to do is have that redistribute, get all that juiciness and flavor throughout the whole piece. There's that grain that we were talking about. So I'm just gonna turn it and we'll carve that way against it. and I've had everyone in the building come up and talk about how good it smells in here right now. But yeah, we've got a beautiful crust going on, and that looks really nice inside. It's basically thin strips, perfect way to serve over a salad. I'm gonna be tossing my cherry tomatoes into the pan to start blistering those and get our dressing going. Okay, so right after I took the steak out of the pan, I kept it hot and tossed in our cherry tomatoes. And now the heat is off, and I am going to put in a tablespoon of both our caramelized garlic olive oil and our smoked balsamic vinegar. Those are going to kind of pull up some of those charred steak bits and come together and actually be our dressing on top of the greens. So I'm going to pour those in, and then we will plate everything up. All right, so I just finished plating. We've got our bed of mixed greens, we have our perfectly sliced steak, and our burst cherry tomatoes on top. I sprinkled that crispy bacon and a little bit of blue cheese on the top, and then kind of just like spooned out some of the liquid that was left in our cast iron pan from when we finished with a little bit of the olive oil and a little bit of balsamic. So we've got all sorts of great flavors on this plate. Anybody that says that they can't have a salad for a meal didn't have this. I hope you enjoy, and definitely check out these great products. The smoked balsamic is amazing. Go to thegourmetolive.com where you can pick up all your goodies, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks.